the other one on the top.
Okay, because you would have subtracted 4 from both
What do
sides.
you want?
Okay, I will say, was this, no, it wasn't this section yet. Okay, then you solve an equation with a variable, which you've been doing for the inequalities, the absolute values, but I'm gonna put one up there just, to make sure you can do it. So let's all right, solve for Z. Here's how I'm gonna divide that then. You didn't divide it, you added it.
Done.
Good.
I'm already finished that.
Good. That's better. Get it? Still working on it. Yep.
I did that, I was like, wait a minute.
So you're trying to rush through that problem. Perfect. Yep.
I thought they were one section, so basically this last section.
You added it.
No, these are from,
Oh.
like the last one, like the last.
Okay,
Yeah.
then you should
Section
put
of the chapter.
this and this.
I can't do
Subtract.
the one that we just went over. This thing.
So
I
this
don't
should have
understand
been
like what the questions would be.
4, and then you would divide by 4. Which
These
gives you
I'm
negative
fine
2.
with, but
Okay, all right, moving on. Now, there is a section that we did not emphasize on our homework, but I want to make sure that you can do, okay? It's not a whole section, it's just part of the same section. And that is if you have formulas. And they tell you that they want you to solve for maybe R. You are going to do this problem the same way you did this problem, okay? I want the R, because I'm solving for it, I want it on the left-hand side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch. Now, you don't have to do this, okay? You can leave it on the right-hand side if you want. But I want that R by itself. The T is annoying, and the T is not letting the R be by itself. How do I get rid of the T?
Divide.
Divide.
shoot.
Shoot it.
That's a good idea.
So there's my answer. That's it. All it is a matter of rearranging the problems for a letter, okay? It's weird, but you guys know that when you use formulas in science, sometimes this is necessary. I am going to give you one to do, I think.
Crocs are different colors.
Okay, look at this one. Ren. On this one, this is just like this as far as solving, but they say solve for the R, so like I divided both sides by T to get the R by itself. Okay, you're doing the same thing that you're doing with solving with numbers. Okay, so that's like my final answer right here. Okay, I'm going to give you one to do. I'm trying to talk fast.
Just like that.
That's a plus sign. That's what looks weird here. Okay, it's P plus PRT. I want you to solve
Great.
for T. God, that really doesn't look right, does it?
Yeah, how is it like?
Okay, I'm gonna make this one a different color. Okay, it's P plus PRT. Think about what you're trying to do. You're trying to get that T by itself. Get rid of what's farthest away first. Right? All right,
I
y'all
did
are looking at me
something.
crazy.
I have no.
Okay,
clue.
all right, look up here, guys. Okay. You might have gotten it, okay. First thing I'm gonna do, cause I want the T on the left-hand side, I don't know, did y'all switch the equations?
I did.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn around and I'm just gonna go P plus PRT equals A. I'm gonna get rid of this P first, cause it's the farthest away. So that P is added, so I'm gonna subtract it. Okay, that goes away, so I have PRT equals A minus P. Okay, with me so far? All right, now I want that T by itself. Those two things are multiplied. How do I get rid of something that's multiplied?
Divide.
I just divide it. So I'm gonna divide by PR. They go away, and I'm left with T is equal to A minus P over PR. That's all there is to it. Okay, it's the same thing as what you're doing with numbers. Okay. You'll have some on your homework to do, gotta practice some. Okay, then we got to the next part, which was absolute values. Now remember, anytime you have an absolute value, now this was just straight absolute value. It didn't have anything to do with inequalities. But remember, anytime you see that absolute value sign, you're gonna have two answers. Okay, you had two answers with inequalities, you had two answers with just equals. So, I want you, I'm gonna hope you can remember how to do it. I want you to solve this problem. So, this should give you two answers when you solve it. Don't forget, I'm gonna give you a hint, you gotta get rid of this first before you start it. I keep forgetting the answer.
Two answers and I can only get one. I'm confused.
You should have two answers.
How do you
That's
get
one of
two?
Don't you do 5 minus 2? Is there two answers?
Now I'm gonna agree with
No,
you.
you don't.
I think.
Two answers. Wait, you get
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just gonna wait.
Can
I need help.
Okay, look up here. Okay, and it's funny because now we put it together with inequality and like all of a sudden now it's out of your head. Okay? That's not unique, okay? That happens every year. Alright, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 2. Is everybody alright with that? Okay, so I have the absolute value of y minus 5 is equal to 12. That's my starting spot. I have two equations. One equation I write just like it is. The other equation I write with a negative 12. Because remember, this part in here can equal positive or negative 12. Then I just solve. I'm going to add 5. So I have y is equal to 17. I'm going to add 5. So I have y is equal to 7. Negative 7. So those are my two answers. If I plug those back in, they would both work. Okay, yeah, yes,
How did
no.
we get the
How did you
12?
get the -12?
Yeah, that's what.
Not negative 12, should have been positive 12.
No, it's negative.
How did you
No,
get
it's
any
positive,
of that?
and there was positive up here, I think that was
Yeah,
a
how
mark
did
on
you
the
get
board,
12?
so
Why
this
should
is
that- why'd
actually,
you
You
add
said
the
you're making
two?
two problems.
Wait,
so
hold
you
on,
did
Out of
five.
the two, but
oh yeah, cause that did make it negative, yeah. Okay, so this negative 12 right here, how did I get it?
yes.
Because the concept is, what, if I have this, y minus 5, if it equals positive 12, the absolute value of positive 12 is 12, right? If y minus 5 is equal to negative 12, what's the absolute value of negative 12? 12. Okay, that's why there's two problems. Because this part in here can equal both positive 12 and negative 12.
Can I
Because I'm
take a
gonna take the
picture?
absolute value of it.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah. So if you plug those back in, 17 minus 5 is positive 12, the absolute value of positive 12 is 12.
That was so bad.
Negative 7 minus 5 is negative 12, the absolute value of negative 12 is also 12. Okay, and that, it was this pattern every time. Okay, you take the absolute value, you write it down, just like it is, leaving off the absolute value. Take this part in the absolute value and write the opposite of the number you have.
So,
Now, we wrote the opposite on the inequalities too. The only thing that we did different is we also switched the signs. That's the only
That's
thing
why I
that's
was
different about
confused.
this.
okay.
I don't have a sign to switch, because it's an equals. Other than that, everything's the same. Okay, we good? Running out of time. All right, then we went on to inequalities. Okay, before we did inequalities and absolute values. Go back and look at your homework for examples if you struggle with the review homework, or look right next to it, because most of the time they'll put an example right next to it. Okay, what about just a straight inequality? No absolute values in it. That one's too easy.
We like easy.
Well, I'm gonna give it to you, just to warm you up, I guess. Okay, no, there's not two problems here. Why are there not two problems? Because there's not an absolute value. Okay, there's just one problem. Now, the only time you have two problems with inequalities that you don't have absolute values is if you have an and or an or statement. And they give you two problems. Yep, and you don't have to go on another option.
Like that, right?
Well, if they ask you to graph it, yeah, but, and so that's not your answer, because you have to have it with the inequality. So you would have to have, z is greater than or equal to 4. Okay. So don't just do that. Good.
Wait.
Good.
Greater than
Good.
is it number? Wait, no, I was
Yeah.
greater than.
Oh,
Wait a minute. Oh, you added 6. No, wait,
Maybe
how
6
did you get
minus
that
2.
problem? Okay, but, oh, why are you taking it over there? Because remember, I want the z by itself. So why would I take the 14 over to the side that has a z?
so this should be
I should
plus
take the
6 plus
6 over there and over 20.
Why is it greater than or equal to?
Good, good. Why is it what?
Greater than or equal to?
Because you don't have, oh, it's not equal, it's just greater than.
Oh, you're right.
Sorry.
Oh, I was looking at it. I was like, there must have been. I
Yeah,
saw
no, that was
one.
my fault. That was my fault.
Okay, so then the answer would be.
It should come out to this.
No, it's mixed.
Okay, that's what
Okay, if they asked you to graph it, remember you're gonna put a 4 on there. We did both sides of the 4 when we were doing that. I'm not gonna count it wrong if you don't, okay? But you're gonna do an open circle and it's gonna go that direction. If you have your variable on the left-hand side, all you gotta do is go in the direction of the arrow, okay? Remember doing all those. Okay, then what we did was we added the and the or statements to it. And at first, we still didn't do the absolute value. And means that they have to be in both of them. Or means it has to be in one or the other. Remember, if you have a center section that goes with both, it's an automatic and statement, okay? I'm gonna give you one of those, okay, and we'll see where we are time-wise, because then that really only leaves us the last section, which we just went over with homework, okay? You gotta remember whether this is an and or an or, and graph your answers. You remember what happens with that center section? Two problems.
But when you have to do the reasons why.
Yes, yeah, you do, you do. Yeah, you can actually do that before you even write the two problems if you want.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, on, I got the first one, but then, Algebra.
Okay, cause you, okay, oh, so you did this side first.
Right.
Okay, alright.
Just distributed it and then had
Yes,
it.
yes, okay, then the other side, you have this is less than
Okay.
3y minus 6, but you probably wanna switch that and have 3y minus 6 is greater than -1. Then you do those two problems. I'm gonna put the homework up there so I don't have to do another video for Nathan, okay? Because that video is gonna stop, but then we're gonna do another problem. I'll get that one. But you didn't distribute the 3y, so that should be minus 6, same thing over here. Yeah, perfect. Still working on it. Okay, look, you're making it way too hard. Okay, I agree with us. Okay, so your number line just has to have two things. Your 5 thirds and your 5. Okay, it's greater than the 5 thirds. So it's in the 5. Yeah. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah.
I do.
And because it's an and statement. Guys, this is an and statement, okay, because that section is in the